Ashok, how long does the Jawalja group, how long does the tanning process take?
टैनिंग में कितना देरी लगता है? टैनिंग की जो करते हैं ना, चमड़े का टैनिंग, उसमें कितना? About 15 to 20 days. 15 to 20 days in the tanning process. Curing and tanning.
What are the dyes used?
रंग कैसे लगाते हैं?
रंग कौन से और कैसे? नेचुरल कलर होता है एक राजस्थान के अंदर एक बम्बूल होता है, बम्बूल, तो उसकी छाल को पीस के डाई करते हैं, उससे वो कलर होता है.
There is a plant native to Rajasthan called the babul. It's stripped, you strip the plant, use the skin for making the natural dye. This is one of the key issues in that environment, which is so degraded that many of the traditional plants that would be used, trees and plants that would be used for making natural dyes have disappeared from Rajasthan. And the area has been denuded in what was once thickly forested.
Now that they have a better market for themselves, do they still have they started again getting their own leather again, or do they still buy it from outside?
पूछ रहे हैं कि चमड़ा आप बाहर से ले आते हैं या गांव से लेते हैं?
सारा लेदर बाहर से लाना पड़ता है, गुजरात और कानपुर से.
Now they are dealing with the markets of leather in Gujarat and in Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. They no longer depend on leather from the local area as they did in the beginning. It could be pointed out here that at the early stages of design work, one of the rules, if you like, of the experiment was to use only local material. The reason for that was that every time they stepped out of the village, they were exploited. But as their ability to negotiate with markets improved, ability to negotiate with suppliers improved, they've been able to go out into the market and get the kind of materials that they think their customers require.
This person here in the center would like to know what you use as a polish.
I'm sorry, you couldn't hear the question?
What do you use as a polish? What makes the bag shiny?
The main thing is polishing, hand polishing with a bottle. The little bottle that Babula is raising in his hand, that one. पूछ रहे हैं और कोई polish लगाते हैं आप?
इसी से सारा करते हैं, ये glass होता है.
They only use glass polish, manually polished with glass. They don't use any other kind of polish.
I would like to know if the younger generation or the present generation, are they happy to come back to the craft and learn the craft and take it up?
पूछ रहे हैं कि अभी आने वाला पीढ़ी क्या सोचते हैं, उनका क्या सोच है, वो भी इस कला में आ रहे हैं, इस कार्य में आ रहे हैं या नहीं?
आने वाली पीढ़ी हमारे साथ ही जुड़े हुए हैं, जिससे बहुत 35 साल पहले जो बुजुर्ग आदमी थे तो उनके लड़के, उनके पोते, तो अभी तो सारा यही काम करते हैं. और यदि मार्केट अच्छा हो तो सभी की इच्छा है कि भाई इसमें बैठे बैठे आराम से घर का काम करें.
The response from Babalal is yes, the younger generation is involved. They have their sons and nephews and working with them, and that attracting the next generation depends on the condition of the market. Let me add here that when the experiment started in 1975, the younger generation told us that the last thing they ever wanted to do was to be associated with the craft. They said the craft was the source of the indignity and the suffering that they had. And what they wanted to do was disappear from this village, disappear from this craft, and meld into the urban environment where nobody could recognize them as being untouchable castes who did leather work. That has changed, and I think that's one of the greatest achievements of this project, because through the craft, as you saw in the presentation, this community has now got a measure of dignity and of self-worth. That dignity and self-worth has come through the craft. So the craft has again acquired a status which for years it did not have. As he mentioned, everything depends on the market as well as on the group interaction. Just now, a very particular crisis in Javaja applies to the weavers. The weavers group is in debt to the extent of about 8 lakhs of rupees, which I think, if my calculation is right, is about 16,000 US dollars. And the entire experiment today, as we speak, this 30 years, is now endangered because they are back in the grips of a moneylender. Now, what is happening is that this is having a chicken and egg effect. This debt was occasioned by poor financial management. It was one cause, and poor group discipline. This is a problem in artisan groups throughout our country. But even more important was that 6 lakhs out of these 8 lakhs in which they are indebted is represented by rent, which this group of artisans has had to pay to the government of Rajasthan for a small plot of land on which they have a common facility center. This is the crisis of crafts. If you are a multinational or a big corporation moving into Rajasthan, you get free land, you get free loans or low interest loans. Everything is done to give you a business incentive. And here is a small group of artisans who have, through their traditional skills, lifted themselves out of a measure of poverty into something approaching a quality of life. They've done it through self-reliance, never received any handouts, never accepted any handouts, and they have paid to the government of their state in rent more than the value of the little piece of land that has been leased to them. This is the kind of scandal that is accepted as okay in this country. And this is the status of artisans today. Despite 60 years of effort, despite Mahatma Gandhi, we're in this kind of situation where the Javaja experiment today is endangered. The artisans over the last 6 months have been running to pillar and from pillar to post. We've gone to almost every organization that knows about development, and to this day, we have not been able to locate a source of a low interest or no interest loan which can get the moneylender off their back and enable them to get their act together, to get their marketing and financial skills in shape, and to take advantage of the opportunities in front of them. So the question about the next generation is a profound one, because the weavers now find that no one will now join their group until the debt situation is sorted out. Nobody wants to join a group which is in debt. So we have to get the debt resolved before the younger generation will move in. They're ready to move in, but they're waiting. The result of this is that when significant orders come in, the Artists Alliance is not able to accept large orders for floor coverings of the kind that you see displayed here, because there are not enough weavers in the group. There are not enough weavers in the group because the group is in debt. And the debt, we still have not been able to find a way to resolve that crisis. This is the kind of issue that almost every artisan group is facing throughout the country. And after 60 years and any number of government schemes on paper, we're not able to provide artisans with quick access to the kind of counseling and support that they need. Thank you for that question.